Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Love Her podcast.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode. We thank you guys again for coming back. Last week, we put out episode 10. So now we're going into season 2 of the Love Her podcast. So thank you guys so much for, bearing with us and coming back every week and listening to the messages that we put out. We really, really appreciate you guys during season 1, but welcome to now season 2.
Season 2, baby. We're so excited. I say this all the time, but I can't believe it's already been 3 months since we've started.
I know. Well, the year already like a regular year when you don't have a new venture you're on already goes by so fast. But with a new venture and you're actually putting out something consistently, it's like, how many episodes has it been? How many months has it been since we've launched this, new venture that we've been on together? It's so cool to reflect on, honestly.
Yeah, and have you ever heard how some people, you know how obviously there's New Year's resolutions, but some people do quarterly check-ins. So
Yeah.
obviously if you work in the corporate world, quarters are like a big deal.
Yeah.
And people do that with their personal lives too. Like if anyone listens to the Jay Shetty podcast, he talks about how every quarter he has a set of questions that he asks himself to check in with his progress for the year and how he's doing it.
Yeah, and I feel like we should start doing that too. Have a little
We
Q1,
should.
Q2, Q3, Q4. Yeah, because we are technically, I love that we actually started in January because then we could be on that path of Q1,
Yeah.
Q2, Q3, Q4. Yes, April is honestly best month of the year. I'm a little biased, but happy April, everyone.
Oh God, not the happy April.
Best month of the year. No, just kidding. But yeah, guys, in Q4, now that we're in April, we
Q
do want,
Q2, honey.
I mean, oh my gosh, what? Am I okay? Yeah, I'm good. Anyways, now that we have wrapped up Q1, we are going into Q2. And in Q2, we do want to start it off with a reflection on where we are, how we've come about, and everything that has happened within these last 10 episodes. So that's what this episode is going to be about. We hope that it will be also a space to encourage you guys to, if you didn't kick off something in Q1, maybe kick off something in Q2. But yeah, welcome back and let's get into it.
Yeah, so I know that every week we kind of bounce off ideas for what we're going to talk about and topics, but can you kind of talk a little bit about what you experienced this past week and how that's made you come up with this idea of this reflection topic?
Yeah, and honestly, it's so fascinating because like we always say, we never have notes. So we really go based off of how we're guided and what drops into our minds and our hearts to reflect on in the week that we go into recording. And this week, something really dropped in me. So I had the honor of listening to such a powerful freedom rights leader, Andrew Young. He did a lot of work with Martin Luther King. He did a lot of work for the South and throughout Atlanta, and he also has a school here at Georgia State University. It's called Andrew Young School of Policy Studies, and I had the honor of listening to him speak within this last week. And he does a lot of work with the students where he comes in and he's able to share his messages and share all of the things that he has done for policy work and for our society and for, our community, the Black community, minorities, and so many things. But this week he came in and he wanted to share his legacy. And I thought it was a great time for him to do it, considering everything that we have going on in our country. And one of the students actually raised their hand and asked, what is a piece of advice that he has for those that want to make a change, and how did he go about doing that, knowing that there are so many things that might have been in his way, so many things that could have stopped him. He was a Black man in America, literally in the 50s, 60s. That was just such a difficult time within itself, but he had the confidence and the power and the strength to go about and making change and working with such powerful people. And he really just said, don't get mad, get smart. Because getting mad really only feeds into the negativity that is going about in the world at this time. And that really resonated with me because I feel like that's the approach that we took with this podcast this year. In 2020, I got so angry. And I know we talked about that in our first episode when we kicked this off. We were all so angry, but this year we decided to take a different approach.
Yeah, and I really like that. Like, don't stay mad, move into action. You can't get caught up in the negative emotion as much as we all feel it when we're in a situation that feels so uncontrollable where we almost feel stuck. It's easy to kind of just say, why me? And be
Yeah.
angry, but we have to understand that every day that we have on this earth is an opportunity to become the evolved versions of ourselves. And a lot of us, especially in our early, mid, late 20s, even 30s, 40s, 50s, we're always faced with moments where it's a fork in the road and you have to decide what direction you're going to go in. And when we're in that situation, we kind of have to put those negative feelings aside and ask ourselves, like, what is going to lead to the most ultimate happiness, success, to who I authentically am?
Who I authentically am. And another thing that he also said is, you can't have movement without other people. You can't have movement alone. And so, not only reflecting on making a change and bringing about powerful messages based on who you are, but also how can we make a change for others? Because we're all in this together. We're all in this state of our country together. So I really want this episode to not only be a reflection of where we've come, but also show you guys that you can do the same thing. And even if you only, even if it only affects or it only helps one or two people, like you are still making change and you still have the voice and you still have the power to do so.
Yeah, and I guess with that, I do want to ask, and I think this question is going to help a lot of our listeners, is what is some indicators to you personally that maybe it's time to move into a different situation?
I think that when I do start to feel those heavy emotions, because when before we started the podcast, I think I did have a moment of, oh, I'm angry, I'm sad, I want to break down. There's so many different emotions that I have. And if those emotions aren't bringing about positivity, it's like, where I need to move in a different space. And I know that's a reflection of how far I've come within myself because in 2020, I was angry and I was arguing with people and I was going to the internet and I was approaching it much differently. But now that I've healed out of that person that moves in anger and moves in emotion, I'm able to sit back and reflect and say, where are these emotions coming from and how can I move differently? So yeah, I definitely think it's when those triggers actually come about, and those triggers trigger emotions, trigger anger, trigger so many things in me. So now I'm able to stop myself and say, hold on, we're not going to react in the way that I used to. What can I now do? So yeah, at what point is that for you as well? I'm curious to know.
I think for me, when I reach a point that I'm no longer excited or again, like you said, have those feel good feelings about something, or it feels like I can't really see myself in it. Like if I'm in a situation where I don't think long term it would bring happiness or joy, that's when I know I have to pivot. Like whether it be a friendship or where you're living, whatever it is, if I'm feeling stuck, I know that it's time for me to look at different options. Because the truth is that you're feeling that way for a reason. If you feel stuck or despair about a certain situation, it's because you're not meant to be there, or at least not for the long term.
Right.
So I think for both of us and so many people listening, it's about paying attention to those gut feelings. When a situation feels like it doesn't serve you anymore, listen to that because that is guiding you toward everything that you need.
Yeah, let those gut feelings drive you too. And I think that, going back to the reflection of how we came about here is we listened to ourselves and we were like, what is it that we need to do? We aren't just going to sit in it, we're going to move in it. That's another thing too. Like, it is important to sit in those emotions and to sit in those thoughts, but then moving in it is so powerful, and that's when you start to make change. And I kind of want to even bring up the fact that once we did move in it, there were also so many issues that came about.
Yeah.
Audio issues. I don't even think we ever told you guys, but we traveled from Charlotte to Atlanta. Was it 4 or 5 times?
Yeah. Yeah. And
And
it's
we
a four
only,
hour drive.
it's a 4 hour drive, and we only put out 2 episodes on those five. We attempted to record 5 different episodes, and we only were able to really put out two because we had camera issues, we had mic issues, the computers, like, it was just so many different things. But we also never
Yeah.
gave up. We didn't give
Yeah.
up. We found a new platform, we got a new mic, we stopped using the camera altogether, and so we kept moving in it. So even when you have those pitfalls, after you get that drive, I think that's where people then stop, is because they're like, this keeps happening, and then they give up. And we just haven't
Yeah.
given up.
Yeah, and it's also, I think, getting used to sometimes being uncomfortable. Whenever you start something new, there's going to be growing pains. It's going to be uncomfortable
Yeah.
anytime that you're going to do that. And if you want to be someone that lives a incredible life where you lead a legacy, where you achieve things that are meaningful to you, you have to get used to falling on your
Yeah.
ass sometimes.
Exactly. Yeah, and I also want to talk about even working with other people, because we also had to figure out our own dynamics. In the beginning, full transparency, we didn't know who should be editing, who should do the socials. Our first week, we were just doing, we were just going, and then we realized, okay, like, something's got to give. We have to figure out our roles, we have to figure out our place. So even if you want to now bring people together, that aspect of it too has to be considered. The people that you're working with and really using their gifts. Like, you're a planner, you're going to plan out your week and you can fit in when to edit a podcast. I'm more sporadic. Like, I'm just going to wake up and be like, I'm going to post this on social media today. So it
Yeah.
worked for us to find roles that really worked for us and how we move. And we've, now it is more cohesive, but even remembering that aspect of it, like, there are so many different things that we had to really sit and reflect on by ourselves, and then come together and say, like, what is going to work for us. And we didn't ever share those things with you guys. We were just dishing out episodes. But I think it's important for us to share that aspect of it too, because I know that so many of our listeners also have this drive and they want to do these things. And people don't talk about the ins and outs, or the back end, or the hard parts, or the hard days, or the back and forth, and things like that.
Yeah, and I think for a lot of people, it's this fear of like, I want to do something, but I don't know how to do it. I don't know where to start. And I am scared of those pitfalls and what that looks like. And you will figure it out. It just comes down to honestly knowing yourself, having an understanding of, okay, like, what are my personality traits? What kind of things am I good at? And how can I use those skills to apply it to these things that I'm interested in? And also understanding that you have to be able to compromise and, you know, put your best foot forward and do all these different things that you're maybe not used to doing. And it is a challenge, but at the end of the day, if it's something that you're passionate about, then that has to come first.
Yeah, and I think it kind of goes back to the message too that we always talk about, is taking care of yourself first, and really getting to know yourself is part of that self-care.
Hold on one sec.
A little intermission because Simba is back there. And for all of our viewers that are listening, if you hear any bells ringing, dog barking, Simba is he is still here. Go back to episode 9 to meet him, actually.
Okay. Sorry, I'm back.
No, it's okay. Yeah, so like I was saying, part of self care is really understanding your values, what you need, where your strengths are, and things like that. It's not just going to the gym and, zipping a cup of coffee. Self care is all aspects of yourself, mental, physical, really, really leaning into who you are and what you need and what your purpose is in this life and this journey.
And I think it always comes back to purpose.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, and this goes back to that talk that you were listening to, is we all have a purpose that is so great, so much greater than anything that we were ever really taught.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like we're all trying to chase our purpose in a world where we're taught that we have to be so uniform and that we have to live a specific pipeline and be like everyone else and take care of yourself, because like toggling between those two is a lot. It's something that most of us grapple with.
Yeah, yeah. And honestly, it's so easy to feel lost even in the midst of taking care of yourself and discovering yourself. Like, we don't come into this earth knowing exactly what we want to do, exactly what we're going to do. Like, that is the whole journey of life, is discovering yourself and discovering your purpose and discovering why you're here and what you were meant to do. And I really encourage all of our viewers to really explore that. It's so easy for us to get caught in the material, obviously. And, you go for a job and you choose a job that, oh, and this actually goes back to something else he said. So we tend to choose jobs that will make us the most money, right? And of course, we all want to be successful. We all want to be comfortable. And something else that Andrew Young said was, I've never met a person that's doing good things and is hungry. And he goes, actually, majority of those people are eating too much anyway. So that just goes to show that, if you are living in your purpose and you are moving in a positive space, you will never want for anything. You will never need more because you're moving differently. When you're always seeking out the materialistic and the money and the things that just aren't feeding into your actual purpose, you will constantly want for more. And I think that's something that I realized when doing this podcast is I really have struggled with finding my purpose and what I want to do. But this podcast and the people that I've met and the things that we've been able to reflect on has given me a sense of purpose. And I'm like, I want to quit my job and do this. Obviously, I can't because it's not making any money yet. But that's definitely something that has driven me as well to keep going.
Of course, of course. And that goes with the law of attraction. Obviously, you guys know we're spiritual girlies, and
Yep.
the law of attraction is whatever energy you put out comes back to you. And
Yep. And
so
tenfold.
if you're doing something with the intention that is not a positive vibration, for example, if you wake up every day and you hate your life because of your job and you're super negative about it and you only are doing it for the material gains and not working towards something else, that is a negative vibration.
Yep.
So it's going to come back to you in other ways. And obviously, I'm not saying that having a job isn't a privilege, because it 100% is. However, if you're in that situation where you're working a job that maybe you don't love, what you could do instead is wake up and say, you know what, I'm really grateful that I have this steady income. Right now, I know that this isn't my full purpose, but there are certainly other things that I'm working toward to get to my purpose. There are ways when we are in crappy situations to put the positive vibration into it so that we get our manifestations back in tenfold.
Yeah, and manifestation is a huge part in all of this. Like, not once have we said anything negative because we believe so heavily in the power of your words, bringing in positive energy and manifestation. We are manifesting all good things all the time. And if you're not a spiritual person, go check out my TikToks. I don't know, Janessa, I don't know if you've seen my TikToks. I've been starting to do story times of moments that Mackenzie and I have manifested things. And I just remember it. And so I write a story about it on TikTok. And every single time I'm like, if you don't believe in manifestation, I don't know what you're doing. Like, you will after watching this video, because we've manifested so many cool moments in our lives, and us with this podcast too. Like,
Yeah.
manifestation is the root of it all. Like, you know?
It really is, and it's how you live your life too. I realized this when manifesting because I used to try really hard to manifest like years ago. Before I started regularly meditating and stuff, I used to like really try to do it, and I've learned that almost the less that I try, the easier the things come to me because that's the law of detachment, which is
Okay.
if we're attached to things, then we're holding on to control, and control is still a negative vibration. So
Interesting.
I
Okay.
realize if I just connect with something that I want, close my eyes and like visualize the moment that I get that
Yes.
thing,
Yep.
visualize myself there, and then I just let it go, then it comes back.
That letting
But
go piece is so important. Go
it's
ahead.
it's the hardest part, but it's huge.
Yeah. And honestly, Mackenzie does something similar where she will literally mid conversation, if we're talking, say it's our wedding, she's like, hold on, I need to daydream. She closes her eyes and she just daydreams. And you know, the funny thing is, a lot of the things that have happened to us is because she has that moment right there. She's like, I just want
Yeah.
to daydream about it happening really quick. And I'm like, at first, when she was doing it, I was like, what are you doing? Like, you're stopping our conversations so you can daydream. And then she's like, okay, let me daydream. And she's like, okay, we can move on now. And I'm like, okay, well, can you daydream about this, dude? Like, yeah. So, I mean, that is actually something that is so powerful and a powerful way of moving in the things that you want is seeing yourself there. So many of those moments, like meditation is a great way of doing it too, and seeing yourself where you want to be and then putting in the action to get yourself there.
And a lot of it too is just having the positive language around it.
Yeah.
I would never say, "Oh, I'm a loser." Cancel, cancel, cancel. Like I would
Cancel,
never
cancel,
say that
cancel.
because then I am putting that energy out and it will come back.
Yes.
So
Yep.
instead, I'm like, why would I talk badly about myself? I am the most important person in my life.
Yeah.
Truly. And as selfish maybe as that comes across, we are the drivers in our own life. We are the only person that we will be with from the moment we are born to the day that we die.
Yep.
So you have to speak positively about your own self and this journey that you're on.
Yeah, and I actually always say to people, and I might have mentioned this on the podcast before, if you knew that your words were spells and you were casting spells on yourself, would you be saying these things about yourself? Would you? I mean, why would you cast a spell on yourself saying you're a dummy? Like, so you could be a dummy? No. So that's how I move because words truly are spells. And another way that I also look at it too is if right now you were the most important person in your life, obviously the next most important person would be your partner, but when you have children in this world, they are also a very important person to you. So would you call your kid these things? And if you would, then that's another issue that you have. But if you are working in a space to be a really good loving parent because you want your kid to be confident and empowered and loved, why wouldn't you also do that for yourself? Like, speak positively about yourself in the same light that you would want to do towards other people around you and the people that you bring into the world as well.
And I think also something that I've realized is when I step out of my bubble of my people, because I know that my people are extremely safe and positive, when I step out of that, I am able to realize how many people have truly forgotten how to dream big. There's so many people,
Really?
especially adults. I think it's more prevalent with adults, to be honest, especially like adults that I've seen in their 50s, 60s. They just forget that possibilities are there. And you have to remember that you don't always have to share your dreams. When you do share with people that are 50, 60, 70, not that it's always these people, of course, but I notice this with this age group a lot, is that there's almost this despair around dreaming big because they don't really believe that you could do something differently than they did. So you have to be careful with who you share your dreams with. And this is why,
Yeah.
because those people that have a negative outlook on life can and will put that energy into your dream. So
Yeah.
if you tell them, hey, I'm gonna, I don't know, do something really big. I'm going to create an amusement park. Let's just say that. You tell them that, and they're going to say, you cannot do that. Like, maybe start with this instead. Maybe do this instead, because that's their own projection. But
Mm-hmm.
they're putting that negative vibration on that dream.
Right.
So now the manifestation becomes slightly harder to manifest.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And this is why it's important to A, surround yourself with positive people, but also kind of keep your dreams close so that you have control over the manifestation and you can put that positive energy on it.
Yeah, and it's most important that you believe in it because all of these people that you said amusement park, Walt Disney. He started with a dream, he started with a goal, and he made it happen, you know? So I'm sure that there were plenty of people that thought he was crazy, that there were plenty of people like, what are you doing, you know? But all of these people and all of these things that have come about, amusement parks, large stores, clothing brands, podcasts, networks, all of these things were once just an idea. They were just somebody's
Mm-hmm.
idea that they had, and that person stuck to it. Granted, there are resources that come about, but there are so many people that came from nothing, that came from literally nothing. And we're able to
Yeah.
make these big, beautiful dreams happen. So, I mean, if you're listening to this podcast today and you are still really struggling with what you want to do or believing in yourself, I really, really hope that you turn that off. You turn that fear off and you just put yourself out there and you're able to do it. Like, not that we are, people that have these big things about right now, but we will someday. And we are continuing to encourage all of you to do so and watch us on this journey because we hope that this journey that we're on with this podcast and these messages and all of these things, it reaches so many people and that it does end up being something so beautiful.
Mm-hmm. And I do want to say also that not every dream has to be money related or financial
Yeah.
related. I think there
Mhm.
really is something to be said about doing things just for the growth of them
Yeah. Mhm.
and having experiences that are for the purpose of elevating yourself. Of course, we all can manifest money, and it's important to have those financial means. It's very important. But at the same time, it makes us just as rich to be able to have these spiritual experiences, these soulful experiences where we're connecting with who we truly are.
Yeah, and nobody that did good things ever went hungry.
That's true. That's true. Yes, yes, yes.
So yeah, the monetary aspect of it, of although it is nice, it does not feed that value in life that you get, and it doesn't really bring about the riches that you get when you do connect with people and you do find your purpose and you do really value things outside of the material. I mean, it just goes to show, you see in the public eye all the time, people who have all this money, they really, really struggle. They really struggle. We won't get into specifics of any celebrities on the pod. It's not our message, not our journey, but I mean, you can look up anybody. There's just been so
Yeah.
many that have taken their lives or that have gone to drugs, that are really depressed and things like that because they've been lost, their souls have gotten lost in the material and the limelight and everything that comes with chasing the money. And I think that remembering those aspects of it is so important because what is it if you don't have purpose and value and good people and positivity around you? It really is nothing.
I mean, money isn't happiness, and I know a lot of people know that, but I want everyone to know that the most important and best thing you can do is wake up every morning and just feel how you feel doing the various things in your life. How does your morning routine make you? How does it feel in your body and mind? Do you feel peaceful? Do you feel chaotic? How do you feel
Mm-hmm.
at your job? Do you feel at peace? Do you feel like you're wanting something more? How do you feel at your home life? All of these things, just really take a moment. It doesn't take long. Sit and ask yourself, is this authentic to me?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is there more? Or am
Mm-hmm.
I supposed to be where I am right now? The more that you ask yourself those questions, the more you'll get the answers. And
Yeah.
even if the answer is telling you to move into something greater and it seems so scary, we're called to do that.
Yeah, yeah. And I think my last piece of advice for you all, because I know that it's not, from personal experience, I know it's not easy finding that yourself. I know it's not easy being on a journey where you feel so lost, but I really encourage you to get a mentor that is in a positive place, that really wants to encourage you, that really is doing great things for themselves, or get a life coach or a therapist that really helps feed that drive, because we wouldn't be where we are if it weren't for ours. So, I
For
mean,
sure
if
not.
so if you're in a space where you feel so lost, I encourage you to seek out other people that are in places where you want to be, or that are on a journey that you want to also be on.
Yeah, yeah. And we've said this so many times, but find those people that will get you on the path. You
Yeah.
just got to
Yeah.
get on the path, and once you do, you'll be fine.
And ask for them.
You
Ask the
know?
universe to send them to
Yeah.
you. Yeah, and they
Yeah,
will.
and they will come. They will come. You will receive. Just see yourself as a magnet for all the things that you want and desire, and they just come to you. You don't chase, you attract.
We don't chase,
Chase,
we
we
attract.
attract.
I think I meant for that to go a little bit better than I expected, but
Well, we love you all so much. I'm so grateful for episode 11. I was born at 11/11, so 11's a special number to me.
woohoo.
And I hope that everyone is just taking the end of retrograde in stride, and that you all know that if there's hard times, it will not last forever. And if you're feeling like you need to move differently, then the courage is within you to do it.
The courage is within you. We need to put that on a t-shirt.
We do. We do.
But yes, oh, thank you guys so much for tuning in yet again another week to the Love Her podcast. We hope you have a great Q2. Happy freaking April. The sun is coming out. The birds are chirping. The flowers are blooming. The year is really beginning to become in some of the most beautiful, light-filled stages of the year. So really lean into that. And we thank you guys so much. Love, Nyia.
Love, Janessa.
Bye.
Bye.